And welcome back. We're moving into our final conversation for today, and we're talking about the Lionfish tournament. And joining us for this conversation, we have three organizations being represented, and we have Jennifer Chapman from the Executive Director for Blue Ventures. We have Samuel Novello, Manager for Saltwater Key Marine Reserve, and we have Carrie-Ann Johnson, Technical Assistant for the Pan American Development Fund. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morning.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the synergy that we have here, and why did all three organizations actually decide to work together on this singular initiative?
So PADF, we've been working in Dangriga for the year, and we noticed that a lot of organizations have been doing similar work and just not knowing that they're doing the same thing. So we had a quick discussion with Mr. Novello at the Fisheries Department, and he talked about wanting to bring a lionfish tournament to Dangriga. And we also had discussions with Hamanasi. They also engage in lionfish hunting. And Oceana, they participated in a lionfish tournament in Kikauka. So knowing that there were all these partners interested in the same thing, we brought them together to one meeting, and everyone was on board, and I think from then the rest is history.
Now, obviously we've been talking about the lionfish situation in the country. Is it improving or is it worsening? Where are we in terms of a status update?
So I can give a status update because just at the end of 2015, we finished the most comprehensive set of surveys to date across the whole country. And I'm really happy to report that we're doing well. So despite the fact that lionfish populations, we know that they grow quickly, they reproduce quickly, they're hard to control, we see that the populations in Belize are averaging at 5 to 10 per hectare, which is considered low on a regional level. Definitely lower than our neighbors, and so I think that we really need to give a big thumbs up to fishers and to tour guides who are really taking this issue in their hands and doing a good job.
What are some of the contributing factors to mitigate the impact of the lionfish in our waters?
What we're doing right now. Lionfish tournaments, they're a way to mitigate their growth. So I believe that Jen, with the survey that they did last year, they found the highest percentages in Saltwater Key Marine Reserve. And this has been something that's been revolving in my mind. And when we spoke to PADF, they said, well, Hamanas is doing this, so can we join? So we said, okay. Then we brought in Oceana and one of our other partners, WCS, the Wildlife Conservation Society. So between all of us, we said, okay, well, let's organize this. And we reached out to the community. And well, this is the first one that we're holding for Dangriga, right? There's been other ones that have been done in Kikauka, Placencia, So we want to make this a yearly event too for Dangriga, considering that we have the second largest marine reserve in the country. So we're promoting this through you guys right now, and we hope that our fishers will come out. We already have a bunch of boats that have called us and said that they're interested in going out and killing these animals.
Now, what's the biggest challenge? Is it the fishing, what is needed for fishing, or trying to get people to consider eating a lionfish?
Well, so I think the biggest challenge that we face is this misconception between what does poisonous mean and what does venomous mean. A lot of people understandably confuse the terms because we tend to, in our everyday conversations, we use the two interchangeably, but there's a very clear difference when you're speaking about it biologically. And basically, I think a lot of people are afraid that because it's a venomous fish and we can see it has venomous spines, people fear that the meat might also be harmful in some way. But actually, the spines, it's a venom which must be injected into your bloodstream to have any impact. So to eat the fish is totally, totally safe. It's much like a scorpion sting if it does occur. So I think that that's probably the biggest barrier, is continuing to promote lionfish as a healthy and responsible seafood option that is extremely delicious as well. So I think that's probably the main challenge that we have going forwards.
And I think another challenge is learning how to hunt and prepare it.
Yep.
And we will be addressing that challenge on Saturday and Sunday night, teaching how to hunt, teaching how to prepare the lionfish, how to correctly cut off the spines, which I definitely need to learn. So I'll be out there learning how to do that.
So also incorporated into the idea what we're doing right now, right? So Friday we have the opening ceremonies. All teams register and we give a short discussion on the situation at Saltwater Key Marine Reserve, right? On Saturday, the boat leaves. Then we have them come back in the evening. We're gonna have the Anguilla Cable Vision airing everything that we do, videoing the stuff that we're doing with the lionfish. So we're promoting also a market for the lionfish. Thanks to Mr. Christopher Quillen from Mayans Lambayard. He will be purchasing all the meat that the fishers bring in, all the fillet. So he's gonna be paying between $9 and $10 a pound. So whatever, and that's an extra incentive to the fishers. They're not just going out and they're going to stay with that. 30% of whatever they capture is going to go to the final event on Sunday, where we'll have a cook-off. So Chef Sean Quillen is going to be there. Hamanas is bringing the chef. We're inviting all the restaurants to come out. We're going to have a cook-off. You know, we're going to try to do the best ceviche, boil up, chudong, whatever we can do out of the lionfish. We're going to promote that on that day. It's going to be a lionfish punta extravaganza. All right? We got Sweet Pain band for the day there with us. So it's going to be a beach punta, lionfish, cook-off, everything. That's the Sunday. Oh yeah, and we have the ladies from the Sartanea Women's Group. They're going to come and teach people how to do the artisanal artifacts out of the lionfish fins. So we're incorporating a lot of stuff into this.
Now, when you talk about one of the keywords that Carrie-Anne said was hunt, because when you think about fishing, people don't necessarily put it in that context. What makes the capture of the lionfish a little bit more challenging?
Well, so lionfish very rarely bite a line. So it's not unheard of. It does happen from time to time, but they don't really tend to bite line. I think it's because they have such a great prey availability. They can eat anything and they're very effective predators, so they don't really need to go chasing something on a hook. I think that might be the reason. So really, and they can't be trapped very easily either. They don't really go inside traps, or if they do, they just swim right out again because they live inside caves and crevices. So the best way to catch them is really with a spear. And then you can either do that free diving or you can do it on scuba, depending on the regulations of the area. And then also with a hook stick. So many fishers are actually catching lionfish with a hook stick. So that's also possible.
And thus the hunt.
And thus the hunt, exactly.
So no, if you're saying that they live in caves, etc., is there something that tells you more or less, okay, a lionfish might be here?
They're very open.
They don't hide.
They don't hide. They're not afraid of humans. They basically park themselves there and they're just, come touch me if you want. That's why most of the fishers usually use the hook stick, spear guns, or the three prongs. They use that to strike it because they don't have to handle it. Normally when you catch a fish on a hook, you grab it and you release the hook. But in this case, you have to be careful because of the venomous spines. So, the hunt, as you say.
Now, we've been talking about the lionfish for a while. What makes their population grow so rapidly?
To my understanding, they have no natural predators. So they can just consume whatever, and no marine animal really wants to consume them. So the benefit is that human as a natural predator, we consume at a high rate. So once we are able to consume more lionfish, then we will be able to reduce the numbers as Jen mentioned.
Yeah. And I wanted to just add into that about the natural predators. I know a lot of people do still feed lionfish to groupers and sharks on dives. And I just want to take this opportunity to please ask all tour guides out there, please don't do that, because studies do show that although the venom is not fatal to humans, it does kill the majority of fish if they get the spine and they don't have hands and scissors to remove them. So it can have very negative health effects on our predators that we really need to keep in the sea. So please don't go feeding lionfish to predators, even if you see that they're accustomed to it. It's been widely discussed across forums, across the entire wider Caribbean region, and that's the recommendation coming out is don't do that. So that's our job, is to eat the lionfish, really.
Now, I think Samuel said that we have one of the largest populations based on the census or the survey that you did last year in Saltwater Key Marine Reserve. When you're talking about reserves and what people can do in there, how are the legislations actually how can humans actually enter in there specifically with the goal of
this is
capturing?
Something that the Fisheries Department has done. We have conceded to some of the rules and regulations that we have, but it's specific more to tour guides and responsible tour guiding. Right? We do allow the taking out of the lionfish from the conservation zone, but strictly monitored by our department. So in the case of this tournament, we're going to allow all the fishes outside of the conservation zone, right? The conservation zone or replenishment zone, as we call it, we're only going to allow responsible tour guides that we know. In the case of Hamanasi, we know that they've been doing this for a while. So we're going to allow them in the conservation zone to extract the lionfish. We have another group of divers coming out from Jaguar Reef. So we know these are tour guides that are not out there to take out any of the other products from the Marine Reserve conservation zone. But we have to be careful. Our Belizeans, we tend to break the rules. So that's the reason that we're only allowing the tour guides inside the conservation zone.
And this is something really important. I think that that we need to really need to come up with a strategy, and that's definitely over the next few months. We're going to be having lots of conversations about this, because we've found from the surveys that the biomass inside the conservation zone is very high.
Yeah.
And so that is a major concern, because these conservation zones can only function as conservation zones if they're preserved to the highest quality of ecosystem possible. And we know that lionfish threaten ecosystem functionality and food webs and whatnot. So it's very important to prioritize control within those areas. And then now the challenge is, okay, how do we go about doing that without undermining existing fisheries legislation, which is a huge challenge.
One of the things with the Fisheries Department and some of the management plans that we have is that it is there that we have to increase the awareness of the lionfish and its effects on the marine reserves, right? And I believe that when you have a high threshold of lionfish, then that diminishes the conservation value of the other species, because they prey on 25 families of different fish. So they're basically cleaning out with anything that they meet on their way. So we have to come up with strategies to effectively mitigate the high volume of lionfish in the conservation zone.
Now, we've been talking that this fish is not native to this region. At what point do you stop saying that it's not native when you're having populations? Because obviously they adapt. So when does that conversation change to say that this is something that we're going to see in different areas, and how do we manage the populations regardless of where we find them, whether they're in a reserve or whether they're in another open area? Because people may still not have the experience or the expertise to actually fish them, even if they, or hunt them, if they actually come in contact with them.
So, I mean, they will always be an invasive species because they're not from here. But that conversation has already kind of shifted, because we know normally when an invasive species comes in, the response from a conservation body or government agency would be to eradicate it, to try and get rid of it. And that was the initial response with lionfish. but we see that eradication is not possible. They reproduce too quickly. They're found at depths that we cannot access. They're found like 1,000 feet deep. So we know we can't eradicate them. So now it becomes a question about long-term management and long-term population suppression. So that's already, that change in approach is happening right now. So we just had a really, really great meeting with the fisheries department. It was back in June, which was specifically for updating the management strategy. And that was really the whole conversation was, okay, how do we work on a strategy that is about suppression versus a strategy which is about eradication?
This is one of our strategies right now, the Lionfish tournament.
And so the tournaments are such an important part of that. It's multi-stakeholder, really. The approach to Lionfish really requires consumers, anybody who eats seafood, that you can have your part in Lionfish management, scuba divers, tour guides, definitely fishers are a key
I think this is actually the first Lionfish of its tournament of its kind, because we're incorporating the market. We're showing people how to effectively fillet it, capture it, trap it. We have them doing the artisanal stuff. So we're making everyone see the market value in the species, And by doing that also we are going to mitigate the population.
Traditionally, one of the biggest challenges has to do with cultural norms when it comes to consuming any kind of species. Because we've been talking for a long time that even within Belize's construct, we do more within the reef kind of fishing. We don't do beyond that. And getting people to move beyond grouper or snapper or whatever they normally eat is a huge challenge. In terms of being open to eating it, how does it compare to other fish? I mean, because that's one of the first things that people want to know. And the reluctance or resistance might be that it's not going to be as, palatable as other
that's
fish.
why I told you this is the first of its kind, because we're having a cook-off on Sunday. I guess I mentioned earlier, Chef Sean Quillen is going to be there. He's going to show how to prepare some of these dishes. The chef from Hawanas is going to be there. And we're trying to get people to see that this is a very, very delicious fish, because it is. It really is. The meat is white, it's clear, it's nice. The texture of it, it's an amazing fish. So we're trying to take that fear out of people, it's poisonous. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to let them see that this is a good meat.
To me, it's like a cross between a barracuda and a snapper. It's the same type of flesh. It can be flaky. So you can make lionfish fritters. You can make lionfish with hadut. So we're really trying to get people to understand that the lionfish can be used in so many different ways that fishers can see that there's a market and an interest in it, and they can start hunting it. I think in the north there are a number of different restaurants, and even in the islands, in the Keys, the San Pedro and Kikoka, there are a number of different restaurants that use it, because the first time I had lionfish was in Kikoka. So we're trying to get that type of interest to happen in Dangriga, in the south, so that more fishers can go out there and hunt lionfish, and more families can see that it's available and can start eating it and using it. So I want to be able to have lionfish fritters when I'm on the bus waiting to get to Belmopan.
Do you think it's gotten to the point, because generally at one point in Belize people would ask what fish is being served. Then it got to a point where they just wanted fish.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to get to a point where people will say, because of their interest in suppressing the lionfish population, to actually request lionfish meat?
I think so. I mean, we've been working a lot with restaurants as well, and so right now we've seen a big uptake amongst, especially those kind of sort of higher end restaurants that are really have adopted lionfish. We now find that 9% of restaurants in Belize, so you have at least one restaurant in every district that is serving lionfish. So anybody who's interested, you can hunt out your local restaurant serving lionfish, and there is one somewhere in your district.
Is there a listing that is available somewhere to say we serve lionfish?
We are working on putting a listing together.
Okay.
We're going to be putting that up we will be putting that up, but we haven't got it out as yet. But you can always get in touch with me, Jen at blueventures.org. I'll be very happy to have a look, see where you are and see what restaurant is nearby that's serving lionfish. But when we speak with the restaurants, they do tell us that every now and then you have people coming in specifically requesting lionfish, and sometimes that was the motivating factor for the restaurant to start serving it. So as a consumer, you can request lionfish, and they might not have it today, but they might have it next week. So
it's an exotic species. It's gonna get to that point, you know.
So let's jump a little bit into the tournament itself. We know that on Saturday you'll have the hunt aspect
Saturday
of it.
and Sunday.
Saturday
Sunday
and
half day.
Okay, so let's talk about who qualifies, because you said that it was restricted. Let's say to a certain extent.
Restricted only in the conservation zone.
Yeah.
Right? But if you have a boat, William, and you want to come down to Dangriga on Saturday, just make sure you register and you can take your own team out there. We're giving prizes away: best female diver, oldest diver, youngest diver. We're promoting it in a way that we are not restricting this only to fishermen. We want the community at large to come out and participate. So if you guys have a boat and all your kids know how to dive and they got the 3 prongs, go ahead.
So is it going to be for the most capture in terms of fish themselves or pounds?
We haven't quite discussed that yet, but we believe I think we're gonna go with pounds. Right? It's most logical that if you catch the most amount of pounds, but we will be giving a prize away for the most fishes.
So what are the prizes?
Well, first prize as is right now, we have 2,500. First prize. I mean, we have to make it enticing so that we have a whole community. Like I told you, it's open to anyone. There's no registration fee. So you just have to follow the rules and the guidelines that we place. We're going to have, my department, Fisheries, is going to have its boats out doing enforcement, making sure that everyone's abiding by the rules. But it's...
And it starts at what time?
Well, the opening ceremony is on Friday. We start at 6:30. The following morning, we'll be out there from 6 in the morning.
That's when the boats will head out.
Checking all the boats that will be heading out. We have 3 landing stations, Twin Key, Hopkins, and Dangriga at the Wynot Pier. So the first day everybody goes out, they have to come back in by 4 o'clock, where we'll do the culling and take video of what we're doing, measurements, biomass, fish, content, all of that stuff. 3 landing stations. On Sunday, all the boats come to Wynot Island. So we have one central event for Sunday. And like I said, we're doing this. That's where we'll have the day fair. If Open Your Eyes wants to come and set up their booth, there's no charge for that. Also, everything is basically free. You know, we just want the community to come out and participate.
And the cook-off itself on the Sunday, it's not a competition; it's more an exhibition from certain chefs.
It's a competition.
It's a competition as well. So that means there must be prizes, right?
Of course. Of course, thanks to the sponsors that we have. You know, it might not be something, maybe a $50 gift card for Digicel or Smart, you know. These are our sponsors that are coming up to us. And I mean, it's been a very hard task getting everyone involved. But I think through this joint venture that we've done, we've achieved it. And it's a grand weekend. Like I told you, Street Paint Band is going to be there this Sunday for us. Street Paint Band is going to be on Saturday night after the
boats return.
After the boats return, we're going back to BTL Park. We're having a documentary night. The women's group is going to be doing their thing, showing people how to use that. And Street Paint Band is going to go after that to Laruni Hati. So it's a full weekend in Dangriga. Street Paint every day.
So it starts the 15th.
Yeah, the 15th, 16th, and 17th.
And no registration fee.
No registration
For fishers, you can win $2,500.
Yes, sir.
And of course, you can help to suppress the lionfish population. Any final words?
If you'd allow me a little second, I'd like to thank our sponsors.
No? No? Go ahead. I'm joking.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone came up. I mean, I'm giving out to everyone that has assisted. Obviously, Sean Quillen, Blaze Electricity Limited, Smart, Shybel Service Station, Z-Best Blocks, Yaman, Dangriga Cable Vision, Hamana Radio Station, NGC, the Dangriga Town Council. Thanks to them, we're using the BTL Park for both nights, and the Wynot Island on Sunday. Bowen and Bowen, the Honorable Frank Papamena, Puma Service Station, Bucks Best Buy, Challengers Hotel, Maya Island Air, Tropic Air, MLP Pinell and Associates, Zetro Blaze, Blue Marlin Lodge, Jago Reef, Coco Plum, Mayan Lumberyard, King Burger, Devon Castillo, Family City, Sean Quillen, and obviously the artists that are doing the flyers for us and the posters, Mr. Byron Sanchez and Fitzroy Chan. If I missed anybody, please don't get mad with me. Oh, and the Alobando group. They're the sound system for the days that we have the event.
All right, well, Jen.
I
sure.
really
Sure,
briefly
Jen.
as well just acknowledge the sponsors for the surveys that have been going on in the development of the national strategy, which is the MAR Fund and the Summit Foundation, and then also partners. Of course, Belize Fisheries Department is the lead partner, and I think a huge round of applause, almost like woo, for Sam, because I know he's been working super hard on this. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, like I say, without my partners, Oceana, WCS, PADF, and obviously Jen from Blue Benches, this would not have been possible. It would not have been possible. They have supported in every way, from thinking of the last thing that we could have added to this. So the first thing, so we've been working together very hard, and I think we're gonna have the first very, very successful Lionfish tournament for Dangriga.
And we encourage, of course,
2016.
residents of Dangriga to come on
Please,
out
like I said, it's
and enjoy.
open, it's free, we're not charging anything. Come out and win your prizes. You know, come out and participate. There's a lot of prizes for us to give away.
Well, Jen, Samuel, and Carrie-Ann, thank you very much for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the time, Madam.
We're going to go ahead and take a final break, and when we come back, it'll be for a wrap for today. Don't go anywhere. Open Your Eyes concludes after these messages.